All right, now that Diane took 5 minutes and 32 seconds, we want to introduce our keynote speaker for today. And truly, Dr. Strain, it is, we did Driving Miss Daisy together, but the show goes on in the kitchen still. It's like Driving Miss Daisy Part 2. So I would like to, they didn't give me a bio for you.
That's okay, we don't need one.
Okay, well, we know you. We're friends.
Time, right?
We're friends and family. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Dr. Mike Strain.
Thank you, Tiger. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was on a national TV syndicate, and I was with the head of the American Farm Bureau, and he said, "Look, Mike, so we out of time. I'm gonna do your introduction." So he took my Stetson and put it on the front. Said, "Everybody knows you're here." But you know, and what I told him is, you know, so it was obviously that you and I must be going to the same barber. I was looking, you know, little light on the top. He said, "Yeah, we go to the same barber." Now we're on national TV and it's live, right? Right? And this is Zippy Duval, and of course he's got less hair than me, and that's saying something, right? And so somebody in the audience said, "Well, Dr. Strain, who cuts your hair?" I said, "My wife does, Zippy. Where you been?" You got to have some levity. Thank you for allowing me to come and visit with you. You know, I do a lot of talking. I have a syndicated radio show. I've been doing that 13 years, and it is now on 21 stations. It's every day. I do a 15-minute monologue. You can reach it here on KANE, Kane, 1240 AM in New Iberia, and KTIB 640 AM in Thibodaux. You can also listen on the big 870, which is 105.3 WWL, 645 AM every Thursday morning with Tommy Tucker. It is important that we get the information out and talk. And so I start off every day the same, that it's an absolutely great day, Louisiana agriculture, forestry, and aquaculture. So one day my radio producer, Don Molino, said, "Doc, look, it's raining cats and dogs. How can you be so excited?" I said, "That's easy. I'm a veterinarian. It works really well." I said, "That's just sunshine and it's coming later." So there's a rainbow in every cloud. And what I want you to think about as we go through this talk, and I know I only have about 2.5 hours, so I'll try to be concise. But what I want you to think about, and something that we talk about, and I know Representative St. Blanc has heard me say it many times. And Benny, I want to thank you for your service. Where you at? I got to look you in the eye when I'm talking bad about you. I'm sorry. How could I miss you? It's the natural resource-based industries. And we got aboard Ag. Now, I can tell you, Vinny's never ridden with me with Ag Force One. Most legislators ride once. They won't ever get back on. But go ahead. But I want you to look, and I want you to think about what happened with the storms. And then we're going to talk, as we go through this talk, about the effects. Okay?
No internet here.
No internet there. Okay, hang on. So I'll keep talking while you see if you can load that up. Okay, it should have, I thought it would play directly from that, but see if you can get it up. And if not, we'll go to the presentation, but see if you can get that going. So, what happened immediately? What happened immediately? What did we need?
Mike, do you have
electricity?
Your little drive?
Flash drive, yes, absolutely.
Let's try that.
There you go. We needed electricity. We needed food. We needed water. We needed fuel. Now, 20% of the total refining capacity of the United States is where? Right here on the river from Baton Rouge down. What happened to all the refineries? They shut down. Now, wait a minute now. Here we are in an oil state. 25 to 30% of the total nation's oil comes through this state, and we couldn't get a gallon of diesel? Think about that. I also want you to think about what is happening across America right now. How many of you are having supply delivery logistical problems? Right? What is that all about? Right? We've got to think about resiliency. And so every time after the storm, Vinny, I will be talking to you about some money. See, I can put him on the spot, right? Because I got to go before his committee on agriculture. We have got to think about individually what each of us needs to do to be more resilient. Think about your own operations. See, when the storm comes, I'm the Commissioner of Agriculture, I'm the Commissioner of Forestry, I'm the Commissioner of Metrology. I have many different hats and titles, but I am responsible to, one, move and evacuate pets with people, help and assist and oversee the movement of livestock. Entity, every hospital, every ambulance, every fire department doesn't run out of fuel. Now, if you want to see something sweat, when there's no fuel. But you know what happens if that hospital runs out of fuel for that generator? Well, you'll be talking to the next commissioner next time, right? It is absolutely critical. You cannot fail in those missions. I'm also responsible to work in the areas of logistics to help move food, help move water, and fire. I'm the state's largest firefighter, Office of Forestry. So we have to break down and say, well, what went wrong? Why were all the refineries down? How come Exxon and Baton Rouge couldn't make gasoline? It had power. The wind didn't tear it up. Guess what it needed? It needed nitrogen. And the nitrogen came from Air Liquide. What did Air Liquide not have downriver? Electricity. We had oil in the salt domes. How come we couldn't get the oil upriver to the refineries? What does it take to move oil in a pipeline? A pump. What did the pumps not have? Electricity. How many people after Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and Ike got home generators? How many have home generators or business generators? Okay. Do you know what the greatest problem was with the home generators? Not that they didn't work. What do you fuel yours on? What kind of fuel? Gasoline. Anybody got propane generators? Uh-huh. How many days propane you got? Average is 5. Average person has 5 days. What happens on day 6 to all those generators in the rural areas? There's no fuel. Now, you think about this, logistics, right? Those things were fueled as they were put in. So you got generally the mom and pop propane companies delivering fuel, right? And then in one day, they all needed propane, all of them. Now, is there a problem delivering propane? Yeah, and why? What does it take to get propane from the nurse tank to the truck? A pump. And a pump runs on what? Electricity. What did they not have at the nurse tanks to get electricity? Generators. Now you think about this. We got all these people that need all this propane for all these entities, and they're sitting in that nurse tank. Now you can't just go crack that valve. Even us country boys know better than that. But again, logistics and issues. If you can't get it up, let's just go to the PowerPoint.
We don't have video, we have just PowerPoint.
Okay, let's do a PowerPoint. That's fine. I can talk about that too. But what I was going to show you is what the river looked like. And what you saw were hundreds of barges stranded, ships stranded, tremendous amount of infrastructure. So what happened? What happened when that occurred? What happened? Where are those barges headed? Empty, and ships upriver to load with what? Grain and petrochemicals. So what did we not have upriver? Barges. And what's happening right around the time of the storm is called harvest. So the nation's grain, of which 65% of the exported grain in the United States, okay, can bring me the clicker. That's dangerous too, come on, flows down that river. So immediately we got national media calling. How bad is it? I said, oh, we can have that river cleaned pretty quick. How bad is it? Oh, we can have that, we're going to get those barges floated. We can start moving grain. So what happened when they found out across America that those barges were stuck in the river in the ships? What happened to the price of grain? Tanked, right? Market forces make a big difference. It became a great priority. The only video ever taken in that river is the one we took. We sent it to the governor. He looked at it and he discussed it with the president. And then it became a priority to get the river open. The ports. And I know we have some people here from the Port of St. Mary. The ports. 5 of the 14 largest ports in the United States are here in Louisiana. That is our economic lifeblood to move products in and out. It's absolutely critical. Those ports are huge. The average citizen they never think about ports. I climb up on those levee, and look, I like looking at grain elevators. I'm sorry, I just love looking at them, right? but you see what that means. And we put a full court press by the 29th of September to get every barge moved, every ship floated, and then dredge the river. Why? The economics of the United States and the economics of Louisiana. So things are looking better, and I can tell you that, the vaccine, there are vaccines. There are also new medications coming out, one by Merck, and it is a pill that helps reduce the severity of the disease, that and recidivir. There are things coming out of that. As a result of this research, there are other exciting things coming in the world of vaccines. They announced this week a vaccine by GlaxoSmithKline to vaccinate people against malaria. That is another light change. We're vaccinating against parasites. Now, you think about that. What does that mean for the livestock industry versus using deworming agents such as ivermectin and others? It's huge. But the sun's going to come out, and I looked at that sugar cane. Now, I do talk on a regular basis with Senator Brett Alive because he's one of my connections, and also with Jim Simon about what the status of the cane is. Cane is an amazing product. We get some sunshine, we get enough humidity, that cane starts reaching up to the sky. But immediately what happens after the storm, you get the sugar people, not necessarily our friends, but the sugar people. Man, how bad's that cane? It's not so bad. It's going to rise up. We're going to have a little lower harvest, right? There's going to be a little lower harvest. It's going to take a little more time, but it's going to come up. But you see the sugar prices? Look, everybody's smiling, right? You saw that 37, 38. It's backed up a little bit, but good. But again, and we have to commend those people that got out here in record time working around the clock to rebuild. Okay. And again, a lot of things going on in the Capitol. And Tubby, I want to thank you. What I say, Tubby? I'm sorry. I serve with Tubby, St. Blas. Vinny, I am sorry. I can't help it. Right? Yeah. Same. You got to understand. President Bush came in and said, look, we were all laughing and tired, and he forgot what Tubby's nickname was. And he said, where's Fluffy? I swear. Everybody's dying. From now on, it's Fluffy St. Blas, because the president, right? Presidential decree. But a lot of things going on. And, of course, we hear now that we're going to have a surplus. But remember, y'all remember Katrina? What's called the tsunami effect? That first year, there's money. Second year, it tapers off. What happens year 3? You get down to a deficit and a drought. So we've got to be very careful. So under the law, at least $350 million has got to go to revenue stabilization, 162 plus, and those are approximate to rainy day, 65 million unfunded accrued liability. Then there will be $425 to $450 million for expenditures. We need to be careful how we spend that, save as much as we can for what's coming, because probably more than a third, maybe even getting close to a half of our state budget is federal, extra federal money. Federal money comes, federal money goes, right? And so this is temporary. That next session is going to be the most difficult session that most of our legislators will ever see. It's called reapportionment. Because some friends lose their seats, things are redivided. There's been a lot of shifts in the state. Oh, no, now I've killed it. Okay, there's been a lot of shifts in the state. Let's see if that's the light. Yes. So what's happened is that, we're looking at what has happened with the population. Now, there are some discussion that more than 100,000 people will relocate after these last hurricanes, but that's not reflected in the census. So for right now, but it'll catch you in 10 years. But I think you're going to see more population here on the North Shore, more in what's called in this corridor, probably a little less here. But the big discussion, I think, is going to be what we're going to do about congressional seats. Do we take the 5th congressional district that comes here and just make one across here, and what happens here, right? These seats mean a lot. How reapportionment is made means a lot. You need to have, concise areas, but also, we like our legislators, but you need to make sure that when this is done, it's done in a fair and equitable fashion, because it sets up really 20 years, not 10, right? Because it's the legislators that do reapportionment. So that is very important. Everything that's going on. Now, do y'all watch the stock market and the Chicago Board of Trade all day, every day? Y'all read the Wall Street Journal last thing at night before you go to bed and first thing in the morning? Oh, we got to talk. But everything that's happening, if y'all been watching what's happening with oil, gas, and the Dow, right? It's all over the place. right? Now this is a trick question. Do brokers make money when the stock market and oil goes up? Do they make money when the stock market and oil goes down? They make more money when it goes up and down, right? So, and what you're seeing, there's relative instability in the mindset of business people and consumers. How many of y'all think that things are stable right now? How many of you have a little trepidation, right? Or when they go to your bank, right, you want to be really sure. Say, look, I'm going to look at your business plan twice, right? Trepidation. But again, everything happens in the world. There's a little, China, as it changes its policy, which it does quite a lot, that has a market effect on the economy of the United States. But all of it is interrelated. This is our biggest challenge right now, supply chain. Los Angeles, Singapore, Hong Kong, Charleston, right? We can't get these things moving. As of today, this morning, there are 80 ships off the coast in Los Angeles. It was 100, right? We're doing better here in Louisiana. We are doing a lot better. There are a number of issues. We can't load those containers back up with stuff headed for China until we get the containers coming in from China to unload. But commerce is necessary. 1 in 3 acres of the United States production is sold offshore. 1 in 3 acres. Now, I got a question for you. Do you think the price of the meal we just ate would be higher or lower if we didn't export? Higher or lower? Higher. That's right. What does a new cane cutter cost? $350,000 to $400,000. A cane cutter, a tractor, and the buggies, about $1 million out there. A cotton picker, one cotton picker, $875,000. It's big business, right? Economies of scale. So it's important. But the issue is, how do we get it from the container onto the trains, onto the trucks, to the warehouse where we need it? And why is that so important right now? Think about what happens or what's happening now. There were discussions yesterday about farmers who couldn't get tires if they blew one out on the combine. Now, if you got 5 or 6 combines, that may not be a bigger problem. If you got one, right, and you're at harvest, and you go down to the Firestone dealer and say, look, I need a tire. I said, well, we don't have one. So you don't have one today? I said, no, we don't have one, right? Or you break a part. Or the last issue we had was to get blades for cane cutters, and we found out they were on a ship off the coast of Brazil when we thought they should be in the port of New Orleans. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean in all of our business? What do we need to do? Individual resiliency. What does it take? Do a hot wash on your business like I do with mine. What do I need? If it hits the brick wall, see, I know I'm on TV. If it hits a brick wall, what do I got to have? If I know that machine blows belts, well, guess what? I need 3 or 4 of them. And so, look, if I know I'm going to have to change the oil and filters, maybe I need to have a set. When I use that set, right, well, order more and have it there. If I need extra blades, I need extra blades. How much fuel do I need? A couple of weeks ago, I got a call from some grain elevators in North Louisiana. You know what their concern was? We don't know if we can get enough fuel to our farmers for the harvest. Now, you think about that one. Now, I'm going to pick on Vinny. See, I got that right. In an emergency situation, does FEMA cover emergency fuel for agriculture, for evacuation or emergency uses? No. Under state law, can we give fuel to farmers? Under state law? No. What do you do now, Vinny? What do you do when you against the brick wall and you just need a little bit of fuel? I know what I got to do, right? I got to find private donors to come up with money so I can move gasoline. So we're going to work on that a little bit. But what does it take so that we can meet those supply chain logistics? And again, so what is happening right now? Y'all been watching the price of oil? $80, right? They're talking about 90. They're talking about 100, right? But, and that hits the consumer pretty hard. But you know who uses a lot of diesel? Right? Look at how much diesel does an average cane farm use? A lot. But what else does it affect? What else does it affect? Fertilizer. Y'all seen the price of nitrogen fertilizer? Have y'all been watching natural gas? Natural gas has me concerned far more than oil. Last year at this time, natural gas was $3.50. It's traded today about $5.67. It has gotten up to $5.90. Natural gas. What do we make nitrogen fertilizer out of? Natural gas. Where is 40% of the world's phosphorus come from? China. Logistics. And here, we got ships on the river can't move because they can't get parts for the Cummins engines to go to the bow thrusters. Logistics. And then the other part is labor. Now, you know, you can tell that's a farm worker, right? Yeah, that's the only good slide I could get. You know, they say farming, it was Eisenhower said, you know, that farming is mighty easy, you know, when you trade the plow in for a pencil and you're 1,000 miles away from the cornfield, right? But he's the one, he's talking to the farmer, and, you know, that's probably the banker said, all right, are you sure when I give you the rest of this money? This did change our world. And it's going to continue to change our world. But just like every other adversity, we're coming out of the other end stronger. We're moving out of this. We will overcome this. But we are looking at things in a whole different manner, right? We're trying to understand where the next surge will come from what species, what virus, get ahead of it before it starts, increasing our own internal resiliency and working on things. So we are learning, but there will be some positive things to come out of this, right? But again, this has changed our world. Exchange rates. Now, this is a big deal. What happens when foreign countries, such as China, manipulate exchange rates, right? If they make our dollar go up to theirs, well, it's real simple, right? When our dollar goes up, we export, right? We export more and import less. I'm sorry, backwards. We import more and export less. But these exchange rates are critical, and they're getting better. But look at what copper did and other things. So I'm trying to back this up. So again, these exchange rates, we watch those every day. They are getting more stable. But if you've seen, you know, the euro, the pound, and others, it really affects our overall economy. Over the last few years, I've been talking about how the rate and increase in production of foodstuffs is not keeping up with the rate of increase in consumption. So if y'all wonder why cotton hit $1.12 last week, if you're looking at the price of sugar, if you're looking at soybeans and corn, what is driving it? What is happening? I want you to look at these numbers, and this is from the World Agriculture Supply and Demand, the WASDE report. I read that right after I read the Wall Street Journal. It's really good. But this is what's important. This is wheat. This is production, 794.4 million metric tons. This is world consumption, 792. Did y'all see the Wall Street Journal this morning? No, because you said you didn't. 10% of Canada's wheat crop, right, has been lost from drought, okay? So this is another important number. That's how much is in stockpile, 297 million metric tons, right? That's less than half of a year's production. One of the things we look at is these stockpiles. Coarse grains, production 1495, consumption 1489, and again, only 321 million metric tons in stock. Look at rice, production 506.6, look at consumption 514.5, and that is what's in stock. This has been going on for about 3 years in a row. What's the number one consumed starch in the world? Rice. Where is most rice grown? Within 100 miles of an ocean. What is rice not like? Salt water. What's happening within 100 miles of the ocean? What's the land doing? Subsiding. And the water's rising. This is a huge issue, right? Now, 2 years ago, we had almost a year's supply of rice in storage. Okay? When these numbers get tighter,